How's it going, everybody? My name is Matt, and today I am bringing you a full review on the Razer Nostromo gamepad. You may have actually seen this device in Freddie W's Video Game High School. They use it as a device when they are competing in their competitions. So let's jump into the video. This gamepad is currently $57 on Amazon and eligible for Amazon Prime, which if you regularly purchase from Amazon, you should definitely get. The big brother to the Razer Nostromo is the Razer Orb Weaver, which is going currently for $100 on Amazon, which is pretty steep for an accessory, but it features some mechanical keys instead of the switch that they use in the Razer Nostromo. The Razer Nostromo really is packed with features and customizability. Now, whether your hand is big, small, fat, circular, whatever, you can map each key to whatever function you want, so it's easy for you to reach and handle and quicker for you to access mid-game. So let's jump right into the overview of the physical product. I just want to start with that this thing looks like it came directly from the future with all of its ergonomic design and bright lights. At the base of the device, we have an ergonomic palm rest with a rubber finish. I'm actually really impressed by this rubber material. It doesn't really pick up dust or sweat like the rubber coating on my Logitech G9X mouse does. Now this palm rest fits most hands and has two positions, one of which is closer to the keys for smaller hands and one of which is further away from the keys for bigger hands. Protruding from the device is a braided USB cable, which is actually very nice to have and speaks to the quality of the product. On the side, we're looking at 3 buttons. At the bottom, there is a button preset as a spacebar, but I really don't like it because I found it to be inconvenient to hit since it is so far away from the main keys. You really need some long fingers for this to be comfortable. Above that is a G-pad, the function as up, down, left, and right keys. The joystick is detachable, so you can decide whether or not to keep it. I personally keep it on just because it has a nice feel to your thumb when you're resting it on it. At default, the direction towards you is down, away from you is up, towards the keypad is left, and towards the ground is right. Now, this really didn't seem right at first, and I'm still getting used to it because I haven't found a better setup for it. And lastly, above that D-pad, there is a circular key defaulted as an Alt key. The only use I've found for this is that in some games I can map it as the jump button because it is closer to the other keys and makes it easier to hit. Moving to the top of the keypad, we have the star of the show. We've got 14 programmable keys, all labeled and placed in an ergonomic fashion. In the middle, there's a set of WASD keys with a bump on the S key for quick recognition. These keys are mapped in a way that coming from a conventional keyboard is natural, with E being to the right of W, Q being to the left of W, and so on. You'd really be able to find each key pretty easily. To the right of the keys is a scroll wheel, which seems sort of pointless since this device replaces your keyboard, not your mouse. In addition, it is placed in a very inconvenient position as no fingers naturally rest near it, so I mean, come on Razer, what are you doing? Taking a look at the bottom, we've got 6 non-slip rubber pads that work well but could do with being a tad bit stickier. There's also an easy access switch to turn on or off the lighting, but I can't imagine that anybody would want to turn off the lighting. It really adds a whole nother aspect to this device. On the topic of lighting, this thing shines, literally. Underneath the keys is a plate that gets fully illuminated, giving it a nice glow. The labels on the keys are also transparent, so some of the light shines through. This makes it really easy to identify each key even in the dark. The scroll wheel is also lit up nicely, but actually at this point it seems more like a fashion accessory than a functional addition. And lastly, on the bottom right, there is a set of 3 LED lights that I don't really know the function for, but I'm going to guess that it has to do something with profile setting. And one last note, this keypad is actually really good for macros. If you're interested in macros or use them a lot, this keypad could benefit you. Using the software provided by Razer Synapse 2.0, you can map any key to any macro, but I personally don't really like the software because 1, I'm not interested in macros, 2, it is kind of a tacky software, and 3, I've never been a fan of Razer software, and this is no exception. Moving on to the more review-oriented portion of this video, let's talk about the keys. Earlier I mentioned that these keys are not actually mechanical like they are in the older brother, the Razer Orb Weaver. These keys are sort of a hybrid between scissor switches and rubber dome. I can't really pinpoint exactly what they are, but they're not that bad to use. They're pretty quick to actuate, but if you really want to have the key actuated, you gotta hold it down hard. If you have it down and then you slightly let it come up a little bit without letting it go back up, but just release a little bit of pressure, it will stop actuating the key and you will stop moving or doing whatever that key's function is. So that took a little bit of time getting used to coming from my mechanical keyboard where I can release a little bit of pressure when I have it pressed in and it will still be actuated, but it was pretty quick to adapt to it and I really don't mind switching from my mechanical keyboard to this keypad. Even though the Razer Nostromo has 2 positions to put the palm piece on, it is still not the best because it is sort of a one-size-fit-all. So depending on your hand shape, you could have difficulties reaching certain buttons. As you saw in the video, I personally have difficulties reaching the spacebar button because it's really spread out on your hand. You really got to stretch it and then click it. It's just not very comfortable for me, which forces me to use the circular Alt key as my jump button, which is a tad bit inconvenient, but since this whole point of it is that you can map any key to any function, it really doesn't stop me much. So is the Razer Nostromo really worth it as a gaming device? Well, it could be. It really depends on how used to it you get. If you map the buttons right exactly how your hand fits them, you will be quicker to actuate those keys and a quicker response in the game, which would end up you playing better and enjoying the product and it being worth it for you. But I definitely have some gripes with this product. First of all, there's no escape key. I know you can match one to it, but most of the keys are already used. So if you want to pause your game, you have to move your hand from the keypad over to the keyboard and press the escape key. Along those lines, there are also no number keys, but that makes sense since there are only like 15 keys on the device itself. They don't have room for number keys, that would be 10 itself. But a lot of games actually use number keys to switch between weapons or loadouts or any of that kind of stuff, so you will have to get used to using a scroll wheel. Which makes sense for them to include a scroll wheel on the Nostromo, but still, I mean, it's an awful place. It's literally just a fashion accessory, and if I'm going to use a scroll wheel, I'm going to have to use it on my mouse, which you may have to do if you buy this product. So let's wrap this up. The Razer Nostromo is definitely a handy little gamepad, but it has its shortcomings. If you don't mind not using any number keys or any function keys, this could definitely be a worthwhile upgrade to your battle station. It does have an ergonomic design and all of its keys are placed ideally so you can reach them pretty quickly, which could end up being the difference between life and death, win or loss, or whatever in the current game you are playing. One last note, I do want to note one thing about the price. I picked mine up for $32 off of a website called Woot. It's no longer for sale there, but I highly suggest that you look for some used or refurbished deals on eBay or whatever website you like to use. I really think $57 is not a fair price for this. I would look for it under $40 or under $45, and that would definitely be a good deal. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching this Razer Nostromo review. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. My name is Matt, and thank you for stopping by.